Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Admiral, good to see you again. I appreciated our meeting, and I look forward to supporting your confirmation quickly. Let me just begin. Why do you think the White House left this seat open? My understanding is they had names back in January for the American people. I'm quite concerned. We don't have a vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. We have all these challenges that we're facing as a nation. Russia is looking like it's possibly going to invade Ukraine. Xi Jinping is very aggressive towards Taiwan, and we don't even have a vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Why do you think it took so long to put your name up before this committee?
Sir, I'm not privy to the process by which the nomination worked its way through the process. I'll just say I'm happy to be sitting here now, and if confirmed, look forward to working with you.
Well, I think it's part of a broader trend, a dereliction of duty trend as it relates to the military and this White House, this president. They don't seem to prioritize the military. The vice chairman position's open right now. That didn't have to happen. Unforced error doesn't certainly help our national security. And I've been raising this issue a lot. The president's budget does double-digit increases in terms of almost every federal agency, with the exception of two. Two get cuts, significant cuts, if you keep it for inflation-adjusted cuts: the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security. Dead last. Again, there's not a prioritization of the military. What do you think that Xi Jinping or Putin see when they see a budget request like this from this president's White House? You think that that gives them encouragement that we're cutting our defense spending?
I think that as we look at their budgets, they look at ours, and they try and attempt to draw conclusions from that on our way forward.
In your personal opinion, do you think at this moment in time, cutting our defense budget is a good idea for national security or a bad idea, in your personal opinion?
I think that there are many significant national security challenges around the world, and that you need a Department of Defense budget that was able to meet those challenges, not just now, but going forward.
Does cutting the department's budget do that?
I think
in your personal opinion?
Yeah, there are risks and challenges there that that we need to face, and that we need to have the appropriate funding level to do that.
You're not answering my question with respect. Do you think that cutting the defense budget does that? I mean, just a yes or no. Personal opinion.
I think that stable and predictable and adequate funding is important, and that it needs to keep pace with the threat and inflation.
This doesn't, does it?
This is challenging.
This doesn't. Let me just be more specific. This budget and the request from the Navy actually shrinks the fleet. Commissions 4 new ships, retires 8. Do you think shrinking the U.S. Navy fleet is something that Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party would welcome or would be against? The U.S. Navy fleet shrinking, which is what this budget by this president does. You think? What do you think the Chinese think of that?
I think the Chinese look at an isolated shrinking of the budget as a positive thing.
Yes, I do too. Well, fortunately, this committee rebuked the president and others, and we put forward what the National Security Commission, bipartisan by the way, recommended to increase defense spending 3 to 5% per year, real budget, a real increase, inflation adjusted. That's what this committee responsibly did. And we certainly hope that as we look forward to appropriating that we'll do that. Let me ask one final question, then I'll have a number for you that I'm going to submit for the record. There has been a dramatic, and you and I talked about this, trust in the military in terms of a decline, actually plummeting. The Reagan National Defense Survey says that for the first time ever, a minority of Americans, only 45%, report having a great deal of trust and confidence in the military. This is down from 70% in 2018, 3-year drop. Why do you think that's happening?
Well, first, I'm disappointed to see that number.
So am I.
Someone who served for 37 years, take great pride in what I do and what our servicemen do every day. That's disturbing. I think the key for us to help combat that is to be as transparent in what we do and as apolitical as we possibly can be.
Let me ask one final question. And the Undersecretary of Defense, number three position in the Pentagon, he said one of his priorities in his confirmation hearing was to, quote, stamp out systemic racism within the ranks. Do you think the military is a systemically racist institution in your experience? And do you think that having senior officials say that kind of thing is actually one of the things that undermines trust?
I think it's really important that we have discussions about anything that challenges the safe and secure working environment for our force. That's a commander's business to do that, and racism is part of that. I'll give you my personal experience. Personal experience. Every time I do a fleet unit visit, whether it's an airplane, a squadron, or a submarine, I ask these questions. And we'd work really hard to have that dialogue, that important dialogue that we need to have about racism. And we all agree that there is no place for it in our military.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll submit more records or questions for the record.